The head of the FBI just had his personal email cracked open by an Iranian state-backed hacking group, his resume posted online, his private photos spread across the internet. And as Patel scrambles to figure out what else they have on him, the President of the United States is, according to multiple White House sources, getting bored, not cautious, not recalibrating, bored. Let that sit for a moment. Troops deployed, 13 American military bases evacuated, markets cratering, the Strait of Hormuz locked down ship by ship, Tomahawk missile stockpiles draining at a rate that has Pentagon officials raising alarms behind closed doors, and the man who lit the match is losing interest in the fire. What you are watching right now is not a single crisis. It is a cascade. Cyber, military, economic, diplomatic, every front moving simultaneously. And the architecture holding the American position together is cracking in real time. In the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through exactly what happened in the last 72 hours, show you 3 pieces of evidence that reveal just how badly Washington has miscalculated, and explain why the world you woke up in this morning is structurally different from the one that existed a week ago. Here's a question for you. Imagine you are in a negotiation. Your counterpart tells the world you have been obliterated, that you are begging to come to the table, that you have nothing left. But you know that is not true. You know you still have 2/3 of your capability intact. You know their supply lines are thinning. You know their coalition partners are nervous. How do you respond? Do you panic, or do you start posting receipts? Hold that thought, because that is exactly what Iran just did. Drop your answer in the comments. Is this strategic patience or something far more dangerous? Let us rewind the clock. Trump stood in front of cameras and declared the mission an overwhelming success. 98% of their capabilities destroyed, he said. They are begging us to negotiate. But behind that performance, a very different reality was taking shape. Intelligence assessments now reported by Reuters paint a picture that bears almost no resemblance to what Trump described. Iran spent decades building underground facilities specifically designed to survive exactly this kind of campaign. Dispersed launchers, hardened tunnels, mobile platforms that relocate faster than satellite imagery can track. While Trump declared victory, Iran adapted, redistributed, and kept firing. 13 American military bases were evacuated, not reinforced, evacuated. American soldiers moved into hotels and civilian buildings, and the head of the Iranian parliament posted a message that landed like a strategic grenade. How can the United States, which cannot even protect its own soldiers at its bases, protect them on our soil? That is the backdrop. Now let me show you the 3 receipts. Receipt number 1, the Patel breach. The Iranian state-backed Handala Group penetrated FBI Director Kash Patel's personal email. They posted his resume. They published older personal photos. Patel with cigars, Patel in casual poses. Material clearly designed to humiliate and to send a message. And that message was explicit. This is just the beginning, they said. You have been added to our list. More is coming. If that name sounds familiar, it should. The Handala Group is the same outfit that breached former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak's email and exposed connections between Barak and Jeffrey Epstein months before any official files were released. This is not a random collective of hackers operating out of a basement. This is a cyber operations unit with a documented track record of penetrating high-value targets and weaponizing precisely what they find. The fact that the sitting FBI director's personal communications are now in their hands is not just an embarrassment. It is a national security exposure with dimensions nobody in Washington is fully prepared to account for yet. What else is in those emails? Who else did he correspond with? What operational details might have been discussed on unsecured personal channels? Patel is not just embarrassed this morning, he is compromised. And every person who ever exchanged a message with him is now asking themselves the exact same question. Receipt number 2, the missile math. According to Reuters, citing sources with direct knowledge, United States and Israeli forces can only confirm with certainty that they have destroyed approximately 1/3 of Iran's ballistic missile and drone arsenal. Another third, buried in underground facilities that have been targeted in ongoing strikes, cannot be verified as destroyed. The remaining third is entirely unaccounted for. Israeli security officials now believe Iran can sustain its current rate of fire for many weeks. They have enough launchers, they have enough trained crews, and they have enough inventory to spread attacks across time and geography in a way that prevents any single defensive system from keeping up. Now look at the American side of that equation. The Washington Post reports the United States has fired approximately 850 Tomahawk cruise missiles in just 4 weeks of operations. The American Enterprise Institute assessed the Navy likely held between 4,000 and 4,500 Tomahawks in total inventory, with only a few hundred produced per year. Other naval analysts place the real number closer to 3,000. Do the math. If close to 1,000 have already been fired and total inventory sits near 3,000, the United States may have roughly 2,000 Tomahawks remaining. At the current burn rate, that is a matter of months before a critical weapons system is functionally exhausted. Interceptor reserves, according to defense officials, have been depleted to levels that would take 3 to 8 years to fully replenish. Trump told the world Iran was obliterated. The math says America is the one running out of ammunition. Receipt number 3, the Strait and the signal. Iran is not just fighting with missiles. It is fighting with geography. The Strait of Hormuz, through which roughly 20% of the world's daily oil supply passes, is now under active Iranian interdiction. In the past 24 hours alone, reports indicate Iran turned back 3 commercial vessels attempting to transit without permission. When a Thai container ship attempted to push through despite warnings, Iran struck it. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps stated plainly that any unauthorized passage will be stopped immediately, and the ripple effects are already spreading in ways most people have not yet connected. After damage to a major gas facility in Qatar, a major air carrier declared force majeure on helium deliveries. Some customers will receive only half their normal supply. That might sound obscure until you understand what helium actually does. It is critical for hospital MRI machines. It is essential for manufacturing advanced semiconductors, including Nvidia chips. One contested choke point in the Persian Gulf is now simultaneously disrupting healthcare equipment and the artificial intelligence supply chain. Kuwait's main port was struck by what appear to be Iranian drone strikes. This is not a contained regional conflict. It is a spreading economic event, and it is reaching into industries and supply chains most people never associated with a waterway in the Middle East. If this analysis is connecting dots you have not seen assembled anywhere else, you are already ahead of most people trying to understand what is actually happening. Hit subscribe right now. This situation is moving faster than any single outlet can track, and you need to be here when the next chapter breaks. Now step back and look at the contrast, because this is where the picture becomes impossible to look away from. Most adversaries, when declared obliterated by the world's most powerful military, respond with either desperation or silence. Iran did neither. Iran responded with architecture. It kept missile operations running across multiple simultaneous fronts. It escalated cyber operations to penetrate the FBI director's personal communications. It locked down the most strategically important waterway on Earth. It sent its president out to walk through shops and shake hands with citizens, state media broadcasting every frame specifically to counter Trump's narrative that Iranian leadership had been decimated. It had its national soccer team hold small backpacks during the anthem to honor schoolgirls, turning a sporting event into a geopolitical statement broadcast to the world. And it laid out negotiating preconditions that amount to a complete rejection of surrender. No limits on ballistic missiles. Uranium enrichment continues. Security guarantees for its regional partners. Reparations. Control of the Strait. That is not a country begging to talk. That is a country establishing leverage on every available front simultaneously. Now look at the other side. While Iran builds a multi-domain pressure campaign, Trump, according to multiple White House officials, oscillates between wanting to escalate and wanting to stop thinking about the war entirely. He is losing interest. He does not find it fascinating anymore. This is the same pattern as the COVID response. Declare victory victory early. Lose interest when reality contradicts the declaration. Let the crisis metastasize while attention drifts. And while Trump's focus wanders, sanctioned Russian Duma officials were invited to the United States Capitol, given tours by Republican members of Congress, gifts exchanged. This while Russia actively supports Iran with military technology. Sanctions on Russian oil have been lifted. India and Russia agreed to resume direct liquefied natural gas sales, violating the Western sanctions framework the United States itself built. So what does this actually mean for you? The NASDAQ is in correction territory. Treasury yields are surging. Mortgage rates at record highs. Energy prices spiking. The helium disruption from Qatar is working through hospital procurement systems and semiconductor fabrication plants simultaneously. If you work in healthcare, manufacturing, shipping, energy, or defense, this is your quarterly forecast being rewritten in real time. And once supply chains reroute, they do not reroute back. The new logistics routes, the new supplier relationships, the new energy partnerships become permanent. The jobs follow. The investment follows. They do not return simply because a conflict cools. Where does this go from here? 3 scenarios. Hold your own prediction in mind as I walk through them. Scenario 1 is managed de-escalation. Back-channel diplomacy produces a face-saving framework. Iran agrees to pause strikes. The United States quietly scales back operations. Both sides claim victory for their domestic audiences, but the structural changes remain as permanent features of the new landscape. The Hormuz precedent is set. The Tomahawk stockpiles are depleted. The cyber exposures are real. The Patel breach does not unhappen. Even in this best case, the damage is already being locked in. Scenario 2, as analysts watching these dynamics assess, is a war of attrition. Iran continues its current operational pace. The United States continues burning through Tomahawks and interceptors. Neither side escalates to a full ground invasion, but the economic bleeding accelerates steadily. Oil prices spike further. Global supply chains fracture in additional sectors. Other regional powers begin hedging, cutting their own arrangements with Tehran, Moscow, and Beijing. America remains the largest single power, but it is no longer the unquestioned center of the system it built. Scenario 3 is the one nobody wants to name out loud, but that every serious defense ministry on Earth is quietly modeling right now. Marine expeditionary units reportedly moving toward the region are used in a ground operation. Iran retaliates with the 2/3 of its arsenal that American strikes never reached. Casualties mount on both sides. The Strait closes entirely. Global energy markets seize. This trajectory is not inevitable. But every Tomahawk fired, every interceptor depleted, every hardened underground facility that survived the initial campaign makes it more plausible than it was the day before. Here is what I need you to understand before this video ends. The relationship between American military credibility and global confidence in its staying power will not look the same after this, regardless of how it concludes. Even if Trump reverses course tomorrow, the lesson has already been absorbed by every government on Earth. American stockpiles can be drained. American leaders can lose interest mid-conflict. American cyber defenses can be breached at the highest institutional levels. You do not build your entire strategic architecture around a single partner after you have watched that partner behave this way. And once alternatives are constructed, they do not disappear when the politics eventually shift. They become the new normal. Iran did not start this war. But it appears to be remarkably effective at ensuring America cannot finish it cleanly. Not with a larger navy, not with superior technology, with geography, with patience, with a multi-domain strategy, and with the discipline to let an impulsive adversary defeat himself one declaration of total victory at a time. Did Washington miscalculate, or did it walk into a trap it built entirely for itself? Is Trump's boredom a personal quirk, or the single most dangerous variable in a conflict that has no visible off-ramp? And when the ammunition runs out and the president has already moved on to the next thing, what exactly is the plan? Drop your answers in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe, because the next chapter, the Tomahawk inventory crisis, the next Handala data release, the Hormuz standoff breaking point, is coming fast. This story is not slowing down. Do not look away. This content is commentary and analysis for informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial, legal, or geopolitical advice. Consult qualified professionals before making any decisions based on the topics discussed.